Knights. I'm going to let you take the footy here, Philpy.
You sure you want this?
Knights 48 defeat the Sydney Roosters 10. And I'm just going to start here. One man's name, Fletcher Sharp.
Yeah, look, it was only a trial, but I bought my grand final tickets already. Yeah,
so that was a real phone call going on there before. I thought that was a piss take, but no.
Look, we had close to what would be considered our starting team for round one. I think barring Tyson Frizzell, the two Tysons, Tyson Gamble, Tyson Frizzell, from what we've heard. So Cogger came in the halves. Sharp, there was a bit of criticism. What I love about the Newcastle Knights fans is they go, there's too many halves. We chop and change. There's too many halves. Fletcher Sharp plays one game in a trial, and they're going, oh, let's get rid of him. He's not a half. He's not a half. He looked fantastic in this game. I think you guys will agree. I don't know if you noticed this. Kalen Ponga played a lot of six in this match. There's been previous...
Don't mention the H word.
No. Well, it's one of those things. If Kalen Ponga was named... Kalen Ponga is the best six at the Newcastle Knights, right? He's also the best fullback at the Newcastle Knights. And if we named him in the six, there'd be a lot of pressure that goes with it. There's the HIA stuff. There was all sorts of other stuff. He was tried once before. They said it didn't work. That was when Nathan Brown was the coach. On various occasions, when they went to the left, Fletcher Sharp played there. A couple of times went to the right. He was either at first receiver or second receiver and injected himself into the game that way without the added pressure of actually being named the six. I thought it was highly critical of the coach at times as a fan, and I thought it was very good coaching.
I think he's got to continue with Fletcher Sharp through thick and thin. We saw last year, and we do joke about it, but I feel like there is that X factor, for lack of better words, for him being at six.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of benefit out of it, and I think the Knights have to ride it. He's good. He's talented. I think he's going to grow in that role too from what I've only seen in 2 games. I know it's only a trial, but I think he might be the future six for the Knights. And I don't want, as an impartial fan, I don't want to see him chopping and changing again, Adam O'Brien, with the halves. I think he needs to be given the six and allow him and Kalen to work together.
Yeah, and if you base it on just that game solely, the Knights previously have had catch and pass 5/8, and they get guilty of just throwing the ball to Bradman and go, do something, Bradman, right? And I don't know if you saw the second try that Sharp scored. He held it. He's a danger because he's a running six, and it looked like he was going to run it. The centre was like, oh, he's running it. Then he just tipped it on. Bradman's in space. And Fletcher, how good is his support play? He backs up. He appears on the scene. You can't necessarily do that from the wing the whole time because you're going to stick to your side. So it was good. Did you see Fletcher Hunt at fullback for the Knights? Came on in the second half.
The mullet.
Oh, my goodness. One of the great mullets. And I said I actually wasn't familiar. I know a lot of the Knights juniors and stuff, and I'd never seen him before. And I was like, why is Fletcher Sharp wearing the 31? And I go, he's got to be from Cessnock for sure. Do you know where he's from? Warren.
Oh.
Yeah, in regional New South Wales. And he's got pig chasing written all over his
Yeah.
If you had a look at him, you're like, that bloke's been in the back of the ute with a spotlight.
That's where you learn how to tackle. Just a wild pig. Spencer Leniu for the Chooks looking at a 2-game suspension. So, he always plays right on the edge, but maybe going a little bit too far for trial match footy. So it's going to be a tough start of the year for them regardless, now potentially without Spencer Leniu for a couple of games.
100%. And still just on this game really quickly, it's only a trial, but 25 players in the squad for the Roosters. I criticised why that was happening a couple of weeks ago. It really doesn't make a lot of sense now. Letting Terrell May go, and the only reasons that they know, after watching yesterday's game, that's a hole. And also, Sam Walker's a huge hole.
Yeah.
Missing Sam Walker for the majority of the season, what are they going to do there? What are they going to do?
And Keary as well, right?
Yeah.
So their halves been decimated
100%.
for most of this season.
For at least half the year.
Big shoes to fill for Sandon Smith and Chad Townsend.
Cowboys 36 defeated the Melbourne Storm 24. Must admit, Jackson, it says Jason here, Purdue and Tom Duffy looking pretty good for the Cows. A few injury concerns. Now, this is where trial match footy becomes a little bit of a concern because the one thing you don't want to take out of it is injuries. So Pappenhausen, there's still a bit of a question mark over him. Still looks to be carrying that long-term injury for the last couple of years, and Suafai Longo as well, now injured as well. The CEO of the Melbourne Storm, Justin Rodsky, was on the Matt White show this morning, gave us a quick update on Pap. Let's hear what he said.
He's probably just still a little bit sore in his knee, so we're taking every precaution as you'd expect, and we're still hopeful for round 1, but we also have a bye round 2. So if there's any doubt coming into that round 1 game, I expect that we'll probably wouldn't play him, and then he'd obviously get the extra week off with round 2, and then hopefully have him ready to go for round 3 against the Panthers grand final rematch at Amy Park if he doesn't get up for round 1. So it's nothing serious. It's just taking a little bit longer than we would have liked and a little bit of soreness in the knee. But we think he should be back round 1. If not round 1, he'll definitely be back round 3, which is great.
Pretty handy little buy there in round 2 just for the Melbourne Storm. I'd say if you put a poll out to the clubs, you probably don't want them this early. But with a guy like him, where you can just buy him an extra week in the ice bath, not the worst result.
No, not at all. And you mentioned prior to the show that I was genuinely concerned about.
There was genuine concern in your voice, Philpy.
Well, okay, so it's only a trial, but they've lost both games. They lost them fairly convincingly. And what's Melbourne Storm known for? Next man up, right? So if that's the case, the next men up weren't good enough. So it's only a trial, but, right, yeah. So I'm just saying that for those reasons. Yesterday they had Grant and Munster and Meaney, and they just didn't look. It looked un-Melbourne Storm-like to me. And so I the Penrith curse is about. I think
that'll be sweet. That will be sweet. I love where you're going, but that'll be sweet.
Set the alarm. Yeah. I've got grave fears for Parramatta Eels down there at Amy Park round 1. I've got a funny feeling the Melbourne Storm might just make a little statement. Next game, Broncos 30 defeated the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs 14, both teams named really strong squads. They didn't play the full 80, obviously, but Broncos very dominant in the first half. And now, a little bit like Spencer Leniu, Josh Curran looks like he's going to be missing week 1 after a high shot on Bronco Jack Gashevsky.
Yes, you're a Mad Doggies fan.
Am I concerned?
It's only a trial,
no.
but yeah.
If they had won the game, would I be up and about? Yes. So there's the yin and yang of trial match footy. No concern. I think I would like to think those, and I hold Cameron Ciraldo in very high regard. I think he's probably cut from the same sort of mould as a Craig Bellamy or an Ivan Cleary who worked underneath. This doesn't mean anything. I set round 1. Let's go.
Okay.
That would be my take, Brooksy.
I think if you're a Broncos fan, you're watching the combinations, they did set up a couple of opportunities to score. I think that's the optimistic thing for the Broncos. You didn't really see the Stars in the first game. They came out in the second game, played some good footy. I think there's a lot of potential there. You think they're going to be in the 8. Like, you look at that side and you go, okay, if they all click like they sort of were in some of those plays on Saturday, I think the sky's the limit for them. And with Madge there, it looks promising. I'm not saying they're going to make the grand final, but you can see the signs there if they do go on and come out of the blocks early in 2025.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. On the Dogs, it's only a trial, but Connor Tracy, fullback, I thought they looked a lot better when Blake Taaffe came on the field. Tracy just looked a bit out of sorts. He dropped a couple of bombs. There was some pressure on him and stuff. But the moment that Blake Taaffe came on, they started to score some tries. They looked a little sharper. So is that a concern coming to round 1? Who starts the season at fullback? Or?
Not a concern at all. They have got it under control. Titans 26 defeated the Finns. Wasn't it good to see 2 big forwards returning from injury? Big Tino for the Titans, Tommy Gilbert. They both got through. So that would be music to the ears of both sets of fans. I've got a bit of a tip around the Titans for this year. So I was a bit nervous in the early pre-season matches, but I've come good. Yeah,
there was a lot of those games. There was a real bounce back. Like I'm with you for the Titans this year, and then they get pumped, and then everyone's like, Titans run last, and then all of a sudden Titans come out and look amazing. They looked sharper. They had a bunch of players out the previous week.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, Kinney comes back into the team, makes them look sharp. Brimson looked good. Jaden Campbell looked good. They were moving around. And you know what? Like give or take. Was it Asako who dropped the ball over the line towards the end there? It's a much closer game. So, look, I see both those teams. Again, I've got 14 teams in my 8, so but they're one of those. Both those teams are in my 8. So.
It almost feels like we get to this point of every year and you're trying to cram 12, 13 to the 8, which goes to show just how the comp is flying at the moment. There really isn't too many bottom feeders with all the recruiting that the West Tigers have done, because they would usually be slotting into everyone's wooden spoon pick. But it's going to be a very, very tough year. Dragons, Brooksy, 46 defeat the Rabbitohs, 26. They went nuts in the first half, including 4 tries from Sione Finau. Can he win the top try scorer award, Brooksy?
Oh, yeah, 4 in one half.
Yeah, and got taken off. Wait, tell the listener how many tries you said he would have scored had he stayed on.
8.
Well, hey, quick maths. 4 in the first half. I get to 8 pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But he had severe heat stroke, according to, was it James Hooper who said that he had that?
Yeah, but it might have been Lewis Dodd's hit, which he's looking like he's going to miss the first
He is going to miss
game of the season against the Dolphins. Yeah. And to Jamie Humphries' boys.
Well, didn't he just stand up in that second half? And I saw a little article today that said, Lewis Dodd forced to sit out round 1. And the comments quickly from South fans were maybe he could sit out a little bit longer. Because I think it's just because Humphries was so good. He came out in the second half and it was like, oh, wow. This is the half we needed. He looked good. He looked sharp. He threw great short balls. His defence is good. He set up a couple of tries. I was actually bagging and South out, hadn't watched the start of the second half, and all of a sudden realised that they were back in a chance with winning the game. But, it was hot out in Mudgee, though, too. So
is that Fletcher's boy, JH? Yes. Best pipes in rugby
15th
league. And a great personality, if you believe Brian Fletcher. West Tigers 30 defeated Parramatta Reels 18. Probably the highlight of this game for me was a Fox just chirping away at Adam Dewey from the sideline when he was taking that conversion, and he absolutely nailed it straight through the guts.
It was good because he had a bit of a smirk on his face while he did it, but he never looked at him once, and he just looked at the ball the entire time. And I don't think he's kicked a greater kick in his life. He couldn't have gone any more perfect.
It was great entertainment for the people that paid $95 to sit in the stands.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was expensive. It was very expensive.
Yeah,
you're not even mucking around. $95 to go for it was 2 games.
Doubleheader, yeah.
2 games.
But still.
So, yeah, maybe that's why.
Shoe high, hot dog, fries, and a Coke.
Hey, Vic on X, Philpy. I know it's a trial, but Isaiah Yongi is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's a pretty big call. He looks good. He looks good early doors. He scored a pretty good try. It's only a trial, but there were quite a lot of bad tackles leading up to that try. I'll tell you who, and it creates a bit of a headache for Benji, and we just mentioned him, Adam Dewey was epic at 7. As it stands, he probably starts the season in the centres, but he 40-20, set up tries, kicking game's great. His direction around the field really helped Lockie Galvin. Real headache. I mean, if there's some injuries, easy to slot in there.
And closing it out, Panthers 38 defeated the Manly Seagulls 22. The Panthers had basically everyone sitting out because they're going to Vegas. They were on the flight while this one was going on. And that rounds out the NRL Pre-Season. So it's all happening, Philpy. But let's turn our attention maybe to Vegas. You're listening to The Run Home with Joel and Fletch on SEN.
You're still here? We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade. But if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.